I'm your host, EV, and today, we're embarking on a journey through the intricate maze of artificial intelligence and international technological competition. Imagine a lab tucked away in China, a place not widely known to the West. From this underdog AI research lab emerges a groundbreaking model, causing a ripple in Silicon Valley, known for its state-of-the-art innovations. Enter DeepSeek, a name that's suddenly on everyone's lips, primarily due to a new AI model that's creating waves of interest and controversy across the globe. In this episode, we head into the heart of this conversation. Is DeepSeek's revolutionary AI model just a reinvented version of ChatGPT, or is there more to the story? What are the implications of this debate for the future of AI technology and the competitive dynamics between East and West? But let's rewind a bit and set the scene. DeepSeek, a name that's quickly risen from obscurity, is now shaking up the AI industry with its newly released model, DeepSeek V3. It's a model that not only impresses with its capabilities but also raises eyebrows due to its curious quirks, most notably its occasional self-identification as OpenAI's ChatGPT. These quirks have opened up a Pandora's box of questions and speculations. At the core of this debate is a larger narrative, a clash of technological cultures shaped by geopolitical strategies, economic pressures, and a shared quest for supremacy in the world of artificial intelligence. The stakes are high. On one side, you have the giant tech behemoths of Silicon Valley, and on the other, emerging innovators from across the Pacific, each vying for a piece of the global AI pie. Why does this matter? Because the evolution of AI is not just about technological advancement, it's about who gets to shape the norms, ethics, and controls that will govern this powerful tool. The outcry over DeepSeek's latest model challenges us to consider who owns innovation, how deeply ethics should be woven into artificial intelligence, and what it means to lead, or follow, in this field. In today's episode, we aim to peel back the layers of this fiercely competitive environment. We'll trace DeepSeek's roots and meteoric rise, analyze the remarkable capabilities and controversies surrounding its AI models, and dive into the ethical and legal quagmires they raise. We'll see how DeepSeek's approach differs from its Western counterparts and explore the minefield of AI development rights, privacy standards, and cultural influences that drive global innovation. But before we venture into this labyrinth of questions and insights, let's take a closer look at the backdrop of DeepSeek's narrative, unraveling its origins and ambitions. So, buckle up as we journey through the neurons and synapses of AI technology, examining the sharp edges, the smooth surfaces, and everything in between that makes DeepSeek a force to watch out for. The story of DeepSeek begins with an intriguing figure at its helm, Liang Wenfeng, the founder who dared to leap from the high-pressure world of quantitative finance into the equally challenging realm of artificial intelligence. Liang, with a background as a master's degree holder in computer science, started his journey at Highflyer, one of China's premier quantitative hedge funds. Founded in 2015, Highflyer rapidly racked up a reputation for excellence, turning heads in the financial world by becoming the first Chinese quant hedge fund to surpass a staggering 100 billion RMB in capital. Under Liang's leadership, Highflyer was not just a hedge fund. It was a futuristic hub where data analysis met technology, utilizing vast arrays of GPUs to crunch numbers and predict financial trends. But in 2023, Liang made a decision that would pivot not only his career trajectory but potentially the entire AI industry in China. He channeled Highflyer's resources into establishing DeepSeek, a move akin to transforming a financial powerhouse into a beacon of tech innovation. It's as if a Wall Street giant transformed overnight into an AI startup intent on scientific exploration rather than mere profit. Liang's vision for DeepSeek was bold and unconventional. Unlike the typical pursuit of immediate profitability, he saw DeepSeek as an exploration into the realm of artificial general intelligence. It's a daring ambition, seek not just incremental improvements, but foundational shifts in how AI perceives and interacts with the world. Liang's decision was driven less by market analysis and more by a deep-seated scientific curiosity, a desire to address big questions in AI that eluded straightforward commercial logic. In establishing DeepSeek, Liang was not just starting another tech company, he was building a venture grounded in the pure spirit of discovery. According to Liang, and as reiterated in interviews, this was a project founded on the pursuit of knowledge rather than the anticipation of financial returns. A direct quote highlights this intention. Basic science research has a very low return on investment ratio. When OpenAI's early investors gave it money, they sure weren't thinking about how much return they would get. Rather, it was that they really wanted to do this thing. DeepSeek's foundation as an entirely self-driven entity stands out remarkably in a landscape where many Chinese AI firms are deeply tied to tech giants like Baidu, Alibaba, or ByteDance. It's a lone wolf in the midst of titans, free from external financial dependencies which typically dictate a company's direction and priorities. As DeepSeek embarked on its ambitious journey, the challenge was clear: navigate the complexities of AI research on its own terms. It sought to innovate not just in terms of technology but in strategic direction, contrasting sharply with the Western model of AI development that often relies on scaling operations through extensive chip purchases and prolonged training cycles. With Liang at the helm, DeepSeek positioned itself not just as a competitor in the AI race, but as a pioneer of a new path, one that emphasized resource efficiency, open collaboration, and scientific integrity. In the following segment, we'll explore how DeepSeek's first major breakthrough with their open-source model, DeepSeek R1, challenged the giants of AI and set the stage for its rapid ascent on the global stage. DeepSeek's first significant stride into the public eye came with the release of its open-source model, DeepSeek R1. This model didn't just draw attention, it turned heads across both the tech community and the competitive landscape of artificial intelligence. On January 20th, DeepSeek R1 entered the scene with an audacious claim: it could outperform some of the industry's most leading models, such as OpenAI O1, on crucial metrics involving math and reasoning benchmarks. What made this model genuinely remarkable was not just its performance, but its accessibility. By releasing DeepSeek R1 as an open-source model, DeepSeek was echoing a commitment to openness and collaboration that stood out against the backdrop of more insular and proprietary practices often seen in Western counterparts. DeepSeek R1 wasn't merely a shot in the dark, it was a calculated challenge, a loud declaration that innovation doesn't solely belong to Silicon Valley. At a time when US export controls were tightening, effectively limiting Chinese tech firms' access to crucial resources, DeepSeek managed to prove that creativity and ingenuity could serve as potent alternatives to scaling through sheer resource acquisition. The impact of DeepSeek R1 was quickly felt. It positioned itself as a formidable player, particularly relative to leading models like OpenAI O1. Industry experts began to take notice as the model demonstrated superior performance in various tests that assessed logical reasoning and mathematical problem-solving. This success was a testament to DeepSeek's unique approach. Instead of relying on the traditional methods of AI development that leaned heavily on vast amounts of data and processing power, DeepSeek optimized for efficiency and efficacy within their existing constraints. A core aspect of DeepSeek's model was its foundational structure. Rather than following the well-trodden path of infinitely scaling up model sizes and datasets, DeepSeek focused on a more nuanced optimization of existing resources. This strategy allowed DeepSeek R1 to achieve notable performance improvements without the same level of hardware investments typical of larger AI labs. The emergence of DeepSeek R1 signaled a shift in the balance of AI development strategies. It fueled discussions about the potential for disruptive innovation emerging from unexpected quarters, challenging the established norms around AI model development. Where larger companies leaned heavily into scale, DeepSeek demonstrated that refinement could also lead to breakthroughs. In contrast with other players in the field, DeepSeek leveraged its independence and intellectual curiosity to build a model that not only performed well but also invited the broader community to explore and enhance it. This effort to democratize AI research and development resonated with many who saw the open-source model as a step toward more inclusive and diverse AI progress. DeepSeek R1's release not only advanced the technical conversation around AI but also challenged the perception of China's role in the global tech ecosystem. It was a prime example of how small, ambitious companies could exert influence far beyond their size by reimagining the rules of the game. As successful as it was, the release of DeepSeek R1 was just the beginning of DeepSeek's journey. With its innovative approach validated, the company set its sights on further advancements and refinements. In the next section, we'll delve deeper into DeepSeek's strategic positioning, exploring how global dynamics have shaped its methods and the broader implications of its disruptive presence in the AI industry. The rise of DeepSeek is not isolated from the broader geopolitical narrative. At a time when US-China relations have become increasingly fraught, particularly within the tech sector, DeepSeek's ascension offers a fascinating case study in strategic resourcefulness. With US export controls limiting the access of Chinese firms to advanced hardware, many companies opted to focus on downstream applications rather than attempting to construct foundational models. DeepSeek, however, chose a different path. Underpinning DeepSeek's strategy is a commitment to maximizing software-driven resource optimization. This approach allowed the company to sidestep some of the traditional hurdles associated with hardware scarcity. By concentrating on the algorithmic efficiency and foundational structure of its models, DeepSeek was able to achieve substantial performance improvements without reliance on extensive computational resources typically required by such sophisticated AI endeavors. This strategy is not merely tactical, it's pivotal, particularly in an environment where technology and politics are deeply interwoven. By prioritizing clever software optimization over sheer hardware expansion, DeepSeek positioned itself uniquely amidst growing tensions and restrictions. This method of maximizing existing resources echoes a broader shift towards sustainability and practical innovation, which could influence other technology sectors facing similar constraints. Furthermore, DeepSeek has embraced an open-source philosophy, which plays a significant role in its strategic outlook. Unlike more proprietary models that guard their developments closely, DeepSeek's open-source approach fosters a communal collaborative effort, pooling expertise from a global network of researchers and developers. This philosophy of openness not only accelerates innovation but also distinguishes DeepSeek from competitors who opt for more insular operations, often driven by commercial interests. This approach allows DeepSeek to tap into a vast reservoir of collective expertise, generating a network effect where innovation can occur at a pace and scale that proprietary projects struggle to match. In essence, DeepSeek is leveraging the power of community collaboration to overcome resource limitations, turning a perceived weakness into a competitive advantage. DeepSeek's open-source model has practical implications as well. By inviting collaboration, DeepSeek effectively positions itself as both a leader and a participant in a global AI dialogue, sidestepping the competitive race to the top that characterizes much of the AI landscape. This collaborative spirit not only yields technical benefits, but it also endears DeepSeek to a broader swath of the AI community that values transparency and shared progress. There's also a cultural aspect to DeepSeek's strategy that cannot be overlooked. In a country where most leading AI firms rely heavily on external funding and established tech ecosystems, DeepSeek's independent trajectory offers a refreshing narrative of agency and innovation. It stands as a counterpoint to the perception that Chinese tech companies are only extensions of larger conglomerates, highlighting instead a culture of ambition, independence, and ingenuity. In the global arena, DeepSeek's strategies could serve as a blueprint for other emerging tech companies facing similar international pressures and restrictions. By emphasizing software ingenuity and open collaboration, DeepSeek has set a precedent that may inspire a larger movement towards decentralized innovation and resource efficiency. In sum, DeepSeek's strategic choices have not only enabled it to thrive despite geopolitical challenges but have also positioned the company as a crucial node in the future of global AI development. By redefining the paradigms of resource use and collaboration, DeepSeek is paving a path for AI innovation that balances strategic acumen with visionary ambition. The spotlight on DeepSeek intensified with the release of DeepSeek V3, an AI model that not only continued the company's trajectory of success but also stirred a pot of controversy. The buzz surrounding DeepSeek V3 largely stems from its impressive capabilities, rivaling, and in some cases surpassing, other leading models in handling complex text-based tasks such as coding, writing, and reasoning. However, it's not just the technical prowess that has drawn attention. One of the most curious elements of DeepSeek V3 is its self-identification as OpenAI's ChatGPT. This curious self-identification has both mystified and concerned AI researchers and industry analysts. In tests conducted by tech publications and user interactions on platforms like X, DeepSeek V3 has frequently presented itself as a ChatGPT version. When asked pointedly, it sometimes insists it's based on OpenAI's model, much to the confusion of users and experts alike. The question then arises, why does DeepSeek V3 mimic ChatGPT in such a definitive manner? There are a few potential causes worth exploring. First, it's essential to understand that AI models like DeepSeek V3 and ChatGPT are fundamentally statistical systems. They are trained on vast datasets composed of millions, sometimes billions, of examples, from which they learn patterns and make predictions. These datasets often include vast sweeps of internet data, and, when that data isn't thoroughly filtered, AI outputs can inadvertently be reabsorbed into new models. DeepSeek has not disclosed extensive details about the training data used for V3. However, the internet is awash with publicly generated text from AI models like GPT-4. If DeepSeek V3 were partially trained on datasets containing these outputs, it might inadvertently reproduce the stylistic and content patterns of ChatGPT, leading to this identity confusion. AI researchers suggest that the model's behavior could be a result of distillation, where knowledge is extracted and transferred across models, either inadvertently or deliberately. In extreme cases, this can result in a model almost replicating original outputs if the training process heavily relies on such data. This practice might save resources, but it risks inheritability of errors, biases, and identification mishaps. Moreover, openly training on outputs from other models poses ethical dilemmas and potential breaches of terms of service. For instance, OpenAI explicitly prohibits the use of its outputs for developing competing models, raising questions about the legality and ethics surrounding DeepSeek V3's development process. Even more critically, there's a significant risk to quality when models are trained on existing AI outputs. Mike Cook, an AI research fellow, likens it to taking a photocopy of a photocopy. At every stage, clarity diminishes, and original detail and nuance are lost, potentially leading to hallucinations or inaccurate outputs. Yet, it's important to recognize that DeepSeek V3 is not alone in this predicament. Other AI models, including Google's Gemini, have shown similar identification slip-ups, sometimes claiming to be different models when prompted. This phenomenon could be symptomatic of a broader issue within the machine learning field, where AI-generated content circulates widely, complicating clean data collection for training future models. In evaluating the implications of DeepSeek V3's identity confusion, it's clear this is more than a technical glitch. It's a topic that touches on the future of AI development transparency, ethical training practices, and the integrity of AI-generated outputs. AI models like DeepSeek V3 and ChatGPT are complex systems built on sophisticated algorithms that rely on extensive datasets to function. These models, whether they're used for conversational AI, text generation, or more advanced reasoning tasks, all follow a fundamental process in which their intelligence and capabilities are shaped by training data, a process we must examine to understand both their potential and pitfalls. The training of AI models involves exposing them to massive amounts of text data, which helps them learn patterns, language nuances, syntax, and semantics. This data is primarily sourced from the internet, scientific literature, books, and any available repositories of text, providing the models a broad understanding of different topics. However, one of the critical challenges in the modern era of AI is the issue of data contamination. As AI-generated content proliferates online, the risk of future models being trained on previous AI outputs grows. This scenario can lead to a cycle where outputs are not innately original but are rather regurgitated from existing AI-generated materials, a situation akin to cooking a dish using leftovers that were initially repurposed from yet another meal. The concept of AI slop describes this contamination. Content farms, clicking farms, and AI-generated spam that floods the web contribute to datasets that are increasingly colored with non-original material. As a result, models trained on these datasets may inadvertently produce outputs that resemble existing AI-generated content. For DeepSeek V3, the self-identification as ChatGPT could potentially stem from this phenomenon. If GPT-4's outputs, prevalent on the web, somehow became part of V3's training data, the AI might pick up phrases, patterns, or even jokes, not as an act of mimicry but as a repercussion of its learned associations. This raises significant concerns about originality and the ability to draw a clear boundary around what is genuinely innovative in AI outputs. Another crucial point is the potential downward spiral in quality. With each cycle of training on AI-generated content, the clarity and reliability of the model's outputs could degrade. Errors and hallucinations could multiply, leading to answers that lose touch with factual accuracy or coherent reasoning, a situation exacerbated by each iterative cycle of data reuse. Moreover, this situation presents ethical and legal challenges in AI development. Models inadvertently or deliberately trained on other AI outputs might breach user agreements, as mentioned in OpenAI's terms of service. This brings up issues of intellectual property, the integrity of AI content, and the ethical responsibility of developers to ensure transparency and originality in their training processes. These concerns suggest a need for rigorous data filtering processes and ethical guidelines to ensure the training datasets reflect authentic and varied inputs. It's an area that demands attention not just from individual companies but from the AI community at large, as it considers how content, from AI, human, or hybrid sources, should be curated for training new generations of models. As the dialogue around AI contamination continues, this highlights the necessity for innovation in developing smarter data filtration technologies and perhaps rethinking how we treat AI-generated material in training models. Our story about DeepSeek opens broader questions about the balance of leveraging existing work for efficiency and ensuring the innovative integrity of AI systems. The release of DeepSeek V3 and its peculiar behaviors bring to the forefront a series of ethical and legal questions that are vital for the AI industry as a whole. As AI technology rapidly progresses, the boundaries of acceptable practices continue to be tested, necessitating a deeper exploration of the principles that guide AI development. First and foremost, there's the question of intellectual property. If DeepSeek V3 was indeed influenced by outputs from models like ChatGPT, whether directly or inadvertently through dataset contamination, it raises significant concerns about the ownership and originality of AI-generated content. OpenAI's terms explicitly prohibit the use of its outputs for developing rival models, creating a clear legal framework that, if breached, could result in severe consequences for companies like DeepSeek. Moreover, this issue extends beyond the boundaries of legal documents into the realm of ethics. The practice of training one model on the outputs of another, intentional or not, can undermine authentic innovation. It challenges the integrity of AI development by introducing the risk of creating derivative works that may not reflect true technological progression. This, in turn, can stifle creativity and discourage fresh thinking. There are also broader ethical implications regarding the transparency and accountability of AI development processes. As AI systems become more ingrained in societal processes, from customer service and content creation to decision-making and policy development, the need for clarity about how these systems operate becomes paramount. Ensuring that AI models are trained on diverse, fair, and untainted datasets becomes not just a legal obligation, but an ethical one as well. Another layer of complexity comes from the potential biases perpetuated by AI models trained on sloppy datasets. If contaminated by previous AI outputs, models may not only replicate non-original content but also inherit the biases and errors embedded within those outputs. This raises an urgent need for developers to institute rigorous testing and validation processes to identify and mitigate such biases, aligning their models more closely with societal values and factual accuracy. The practice of distilling knowledge from existing models, if pursued too aggressively, can lead to an erosion of the diverse thought processes and ingenuity required for robust AI systems. Thus, the AI community must reflect on how to maintain a balance between efficiency, using existing AI outputs to save on computational costs, and ensuring the stories and functions these systems articulate remain faithful to truthful and unbiased narratives. These ethical and legal challenges prompt vital questions about the future of AI research and development. How can companies like DeepSeek, while striving for resource optimization and strategic breakthroughs, ensure they do not cross ethical lines or violate intellectual property norms? What systems of checks and balances can be implemented to safeguard innovation while honoring the rights and contributions of predecessors in the AI field? As the AI landscape continues to evolve, stakeholders, including developers, policymakers, and the public, must collaborate to establish ethical guidelines and legal standards that promote transparency, fairness, and innovation. Only through such measures can the industry responsibly harness the transformative potential of AI technologies without compromising on integrity or fairness. DeepSeek's bold move with the release of its V3 model has certainly stirred the pot in the AI community, prompting a range of reactions from industry players, experts, and observers. As we assess the mixed responses, it's clear there are many facets to how DeepSeek's advancements are perceived, both in terms of technical achievement and ethical considerations. First, let's delve into the expert insights. Many AI researchers have acknowledged DeepSeek's technical prowess, appreciating the substantial capabilities demonstrated by its V3 model, especially given the constrained resources within which it was developed. The efficiency and sophistication of DeepSeek's approach in circumventing limitations imposed by geographic and political dynamics have been praised as innovative and forward-thinking. However, alongside these commendations are serious concerns regarding potential data contamination and content originality. Mike Cook, a research fellow at King's College London specializing in AI, voiced his apprehension over the possibility of DeepSeek V3 being inadvertently trained on outputs from models like ChatGPT. His analogy of it being akin to taking a photocopy of a photocopy captures the critical issue of fidelity and quality degradation, a perspective that resonates with many AI ethicists worried about the implications for model accuracy and reliability. On the corporate end, OpenAI has also chimed in, albeit indirectly. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman seemingly addressed the issue with a cryptic comment on social media about the challenges of innovative versus imitative development. His remarks hinted at the broader debate of creative authenticity in the AI space, underscoring a competitive tension between being a trailblazer and a quick follower utilizing established frameworks. This discussion highlights a key dilemma faced by AI companies worldwide: the balance between leveraging existing technologies versus pioneering unexplored territories. Altman's subtle critique underscores a call for pushing the boundaries rather than relying on the assurance of existing systems, encouraging the industry to continually innovate beyond the shadows of established tech giants. Furthermore, the broader AI community's responses reflect a mix of admiration and caution. Some technologists view DeepSeek's strategy of open collaboration and resource maximization as a potential blueprint for smaller players aiming to break into the field, enabling them to compete against well-resourced entities. This perspective champions democratized innovation, applauding DeepSeek for introducing a new avenue for competition genuinely grounded in ingenuity and not merely financial power. Yet, this admiration is tempered by warnings about the kinds of practices that might set concerning precedents if unaddressed corporately or ethically. The industry, particularly tech policymakers and AI watchdog groups, emphasizes the need for evolving standards around training datasets to prevent such issues of misidentification and intellectual co-option. Looking forward, it appears that DeepSeek has unwittingly sparked a broader dialogue on establishing norms and frameworks to responsibly structure AI training methodologies. These standards would ideally address how AI companies can ethically utilize existing outputs and manage potential data contamination, conversations that are increasingly necessary given the fast approaching horizon of ubiquitous AI applications. Thus, the industry and its stakeholders find themselves at a crossroads, fostering innovation and competition while reinforcing a robust ethical and legal infrastructure. As AI continues to expand its reach into multiple facets of human life, the vigilance with which these issues are managed will define the path forward. As we wrap up our deep dive into the fascinating world of DeepSeek and its AI models, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've uncovered and what it signifies for the broader landscape of artificial intelligence. First, we've explored the origins of DeepSeek and the vision of its founder, Liang Wenfeng, who dared to divert resources from a successful hedge fund into the ambitious and challenging field of AI research. This bold move highlighted a shift from purely financial pursuits to a quest for scientific discovery, embodying a commitment to advancing artificial general intelligence with minimal reliance on external tech giants. DeepSeek's breakthrough came with the release of its open-source model, DeepSeek R1, which not only captured global attention but also challenged the dominance of existing AI leaders. By showcasing impressive capabilities with an emphasis on software-driven resource optimization, DeepSeek set a new precedent for innovation, emphasizing efficiency and open collaboration. The conversation took a controversial turn with DeepSeek V3, a model that astounds with its capabilities yet raises eyebrows with its proclivity to self-identify as ChatGPT. This anomaly opened up critical discussions on AI training practices, the integrity of datasets, and the potential pitfalls of inadvertent data contamination. The issues with V3 underscore the importance of transparency and originality in AI development, a conversation that resonates deeply with ethical and legal implications in the tech industry. Industry reactions have brought a spectrum of perspectives, from admiration for DeepSeek's innovative spirit to concerns regarding the ethical boundaries of AI practices. Key voices in the community have underscored the necessity for clear standards and ethical guidelines that govern AI development processes, ensuring that innovation does not come at the cost of integrity or intellectual theft. So, where do we go from here? DeepSeek's journey is far from over, and as the landscape of AI continues to evolve, so too will the challenges and opportunities that companies face in this domain. For those of us watching or participating in this transformation, it is crucial to stay informed, engage in the ongoing discussions about AI ethics, and perhaps most importantly, advocate for transparency and accountability in AI processes. In an industry as dynamic as AI, Both established players and newcomers have pivotal roles in shaping the future. It requires letting go of old paradigms and embracing new ones where collaboration and innovation thrive together. Moving forward, let's encourage conversations that push boundaries responsibly and drive progress while safeguarding ethical standards. For listeners who want to dive deeper, consider joining forums, attending webinars, or reading up on the latest research publications focusing on AI ethics and safety. Engaging with these resources not only enriches your understanding but also empowers you to contribute thoughtfully to an industry that is, increasingly, both our present and our future. Until then, keep questioning, stay curious, and always look beyond the headlines to understand the deeper implications of the digital age. If you enjoyed today's discussion and found it valuable, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with your community. Until next time, stay curious and keep innovating. I'm EV, and this is I Forever, Establishing Smart Living.